yesterday and this morning, I hope that built a really strong foundation for you guys for what we're about to talk about next, right? Just opening up what's possible for you. Okay, as what I love about the real estate business is that the numbers are big. You look at a house, $100,000 is sort of a lower end home here in Houston, right? And then you have $1 million, and as a wholesaler, on average, you make about 10% of the price of the home. Okay, so 10% of 100,000 is $10,000. 10% of $1 million is $100,000. Right? And what business are you going to get into with no money, right? No credit, that can make you that kind of money. There's not a lot of businesses that do that. And I share with you guys a little bit about a friend of mine who's starting a business in the oil field, and he's having to raise $120 million just to start the business. Right? It's like, so the real estate business is just an amazing business to get started, and then from there, you can build it as far as you want to build it. Right? Build it as much as you can turn into a multi-billion-dollar company like Trump did, or cruise along with just multi-millions. Like, it's all up to you. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. So this morning we want to share with you the $1 million plan. Okay? And we roll out this plan for our students. For those we have groups of students that have done well over $100,000 their first year in the business already. And so like, what's next after 100,000 is typically $1 million. Right? It's just, and it's not about the money. It's about the game. Right? It's like just the next goal to hit, and who you get to be in the process of trying to achieve that goal. How you have to expand yourself personally. How you have to expand the way you think, the way you run your team, the way you. That's way too high. The way you run your team, the way you manage your team, the way you have your systems in place. Right? There's a lot of things that at a $100,000 level you can totally get by. At $100,000, you don't even need a website. You don't even need just more than just you. Right? It's just you, some leads to work on, and that's pretty much it. Right? In a car, driving by. And that's really all you need at a $100,000 level. At a $1 million level, it's a whole new ball game. Right? You definitely want to have a team, unless you want to work your ass off, 80 hours a week. I've done that. Right? And you really have to build a team, and you have to have a system that consistently bring in leads every single day into your business. Right? And then the system, of managing those leads, converting those leads into deals, and the system to sell them. So we're going to be talking about that this morning. Cool? Okay. So, the model, if you really look at $1 million, and so here's the, here's the sort of like the disclaimer, right? If your goal is not $1 million, whatever that is, you take this and you just sort of deduct it, right? And if it's more than $1 million, you add more to it. Okay. So $1 million sounds a lot, but if you break it down, at a wholesale deal here in Houston, will make you, on average, actually over $9,000. But for the sake of this, we'll just say $9,000 per deal. What that means is 9 deals a month. 9 deals a month will get you $1 million in wholesale fees. Okay. In wholesaling, you make an average of about $18,000 a deal. So that's about 5 deals a month that you have to do to make $1 million in a year. Oops. In the rehabbing, you average about $27,000 per deal. 3 deals a month, that will get you your $1 million in a year. Okay. Landlording, you average about $20,000 in equity capture per deal. It's about 5 deals a month. Same thing with owner financing, about $20,000, 5 deals a month. Right? And remember, these are all like individuals. If you combine them, then your number of deals per month is a lot less.
You can mix and match it.
Yeah. And commercial wholesaling, at an average of about $50,000 a deal, that's like 2 deals a month. We do commercial wholesaling. Okay, now there are deals that make you more than that. Obviously, that's the case with all of them. I mean, there are wholesale deals, that can make you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 or more. There are, there are commercial deal. One of our other students that's not here right now, they recently did a commercial deal, made over $120,000 on one deal. And so these numbers, like I said, are average. That doesn't mean that that's all you have to stop. So think about that, right? Like, can you see, like, breaking it down this way seems so much more doable? So much more doable. Than when you think of just like $1 million. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to understand what is owner financing. I know you said what it is.
Okay. So the question is, what is owner financing? Owner financing is when you sell a house and you become the bank for the buyer. So instead of them getting a mortgage loan and pay the bank, then they pay you monthly. So it's like installment sale, where they just pay you monthly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Ace.
Okay, so if you're going to wholesale and hotel for $63,000 a month, that would include 7 deals a month at $9,000 per deal. And if you're going to rehab and do $27,000 a month, that's one rehab deal per month, making $27,000 per deal, which either one of those will equal
so
out
if you combine these 3 things together,
this
is a combined.
Okay. Well, the hotel one is. There's 7.
So if you have if your business is like ours, where we do wholesale hotel rehabbing, you're looking at about 8 deals a month on average. And I'm being very conservative because I just group wholesale and hotel together, right? But so 8 deals a month will make you $1,080,000.
So that's the 7 wholesale deals and one hotel deal, and then the rehabbing deal.
Yeah.
And that's $1,080,000 for the year. So you would hit your $1 million goal if you were able to mix and match them like that. That's what we were talking about when we said mix and match earlier, is mixing the wholesale, hotel, and rehabbing.
Okay.
One thing I don't understand is in the rehab deal, for example, you have to put a lot more work into it. You're not you yourself, you're going to do it. So what motivates you to choose this mix and match rather than more wholesale and hotel?
Well, that's an average, So I mean, some make more, and obviously some make less.
I'll reverse back to this to answer your question.
Well, yeah, right. It takes fewer deals to rehab to make the same amount, and I get that. But is that really that's it?
That's it. Yeah. There's also sort of like sort of emotional value that you get out of rehabbing, right? Like I said, there's a house I'm rehabbing right now where I just want to provide a really good house for whoever's going to move into there, and like there's a feel-good feeling about it. Versus wholesale deals, you're selling the house as is to an investor. All they care about is the number. All you care about is the number. Like it's like there's like no emotional.
And there's a preference to it too. Like I get a joy out of wholesaling. He gets a joy out of rehabbing. So I mean, it's and like you have to have a machine to wholesale. Like some people may not want to have a machine that finds so many wholesale deals, all the time. So if you do one rehab deal, you can get that from another wholesaler without having to do your own, like that much of your own marketing, and you can, like you said, make more profit per deal without having to find as many deals.
Yeah.
Wholesaling, you have to keep it going.
Yeah, it's a volume. Wholesaling is a volume business, right? So you have to have the volume to keep it up. Rehabbing, it's always risk, versus reward, right? So like the more risk you're willing to take on a deal, the more reward you're gonna get out of that. Right? And so like if you're just doing straight wholesaling, there's no risk. You don't have any money out of pocket. You don't have any credit or any of that stuff, right? And so you make less money versus a rehabbing deal where you're actually using your money or you're borrowing someone's money. You're managing the contractors, which has risk in that, because there's plenty of times where you go in a house, you fix one thing and there's like 3 other things behind it that you didn't see, because now that you open up the wall, there's termites
electrical problems.
Electrical problems.
That's one I was just telling you about yesterday. I opened up a wall. There was a fire in the wall that nobody had mentioned before. We had to redo all the electrical that we didn't plan on. So.
And you can't see like Superman collapse.
Yeah.
Yep. On that same house, we actually raised the foundation and we had to raise it 5 inches, and that broke all the plumbing underneath the house.
Yeah.
So we had to redo all the plumbing underneath the house then.
Yeah. So there's another level of risk. That's why we recommend it's much, especially if you're new, like start out with wholesaling, right? So that way you can learn how the most important lesson to learn out of this event that we want to impart on you is how to find the deals. Because once you know how to find these deals, you have so many options available to you. The people out there, a lot of rehabbers, a lot of landlords out there, they don't know how to find deals. So they don't have a lot of options to do wholesaling. They're like, well, all I know is to get deals from my agents, right? And so they have to pay more for the properties, and they limit themselves on what they can do, on the exit strategy.
They're at the mercy of somebody else bringing them deals rather than being able to generate their own deals.
Yeah.
She had a question. What's the difference between wholesaling and wholesaling? Wholesaling is just getting a contract from party A, the seller, and then assigning the rights to that contract to party B, your investor buyer. Wholesaling is a kind of a hybrid between the rehabbing, selling to the retail market, and the wholesale deal, where you're going to get it under contract the same as you do in a wholesale deal, but instead of just selling it to an investor buyer, you will market it on the MLS and sell to an end buyer or an investor buyer that's looking to pay more. Yeah. And that works really well in markets like this, where there's people paying more money. Even investors on the MLS are paying. Like he said, the people that don't know how to generate their own deals, they will pay more for a deal that they're going to rent out because they don't know how to find wholesale deals. So in this market, it works really well because there's buyers like that, or you might sell to an end buyer who's looking to get a good deal on a house, and they'll do the work themselves or something like that.
The wholesale market is a very underground market. Like there's only so many. How many people do we have in Houston? 6 million?
6-7 million, yeah.
Right? There's only about 60, 70 of you here, right? It's a very underground market. So, when you're wholesaling a deal, the mass market knows nothing about your deal. Now, on the MLS, on the other hand, there's like 2 million eyeballs looking at the MLS, on a regular basis, right? So that's the mass market. And so wholesale is selling it to the underground market, investors who knows the business, have experience, and wholesale is about taking that wholesale deal and sell it to the retail market. Right now, you're dealing with buyers who don't know the business, who might think that your assignment fee is illegal, right? And so there's a next level of complexity that you have to explain to them, explain to the agents, and so that's the reason, because you might ask, well, why don't we take all of our wholesale deals and just wholesale them, right? It's because it depends on the deal and the sellers we're dealing with, whether the house is vacant or not. Whether or not we want to go through that trouble of dealing with the retail buyer who don't know what's going on, or them trying to get a loan instead of just paying cash.
Dealing with realtors that don't understand.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have to explain the way it works to the buyer, a lot of the times realtors in here, you understand this underground market, this wholesale investment market. Most realtors don't understand that.
Yeah.
And it freaks them out and they get scared.
Yeah, and in the wholesale market, I mean, a lot of our buyers that are experienced, and myself included, like I'll buy houses sight unseen. The wholesale tells me the numbers. I run the numbers like done deal, sold, right? So that's common in the wholesale market, and your buyers backing out on you in the wholesale market is a lot less, versus the hotel market. They have to get the inspection. They want their option period. They want and so their chance of falling out is higher. So those are some of the complexities that you have to. I'm gonna hold off because we're gonna go. Some of your questions might be answered along the way. So toward the end, we'll open up for questions. Okay. Because if not, we'll be running out of time, and I don't want to rush through the presentation. All right. So $1 million and 8 deals a month sounds very big. So you're not going to start out doing 8 deals a month. Most likely, most of you will not do that. We had a student that did that. Like his first month with us, he did 8 deals. Second month, he did 9 deals. Coming from someone before that, he was doing 1 deal every 2 to 3 months. Right, but that's an extreme case. In most cases, that's not the case, right? Most of you will ramp up your number of deals.
He was like what we were talking about a second ago, where the investor that's relying on somebody else to bring them deals, he was relying on his realtor to bring him deals. So the realtor's only going to bring you so many deals. So like Tim was saying, he only was buying a deal every other month or so. And then once we taught him how to find deals and generate his own leads and be his own source of deals, he took off, like big time, like 8 and 9 deals a month.
Yeah. So here's how you break down your goals, so that way it's a scaling process, right? And the momentum kicks in. And this same kind of breakdown is the same kind that you would do with your goals, any kind of goals that you have. How do you eat an elephant? Right? 1 bite at a time, right? So it's really about that, like 1 bite at a time. So you have $1 million. Your goal is to double your business every quarter. So I mean every 3 months, you're going to double your business. Okay? So if you're going to double your business every 3 months, that means that in quarter 4, right, you have to do $500,000. Right? In quarter 3, and so I'll just use this number. So in quarter 4, you do $522,000. Quarter 3, you do $324,000. Quarter 2, you do $162,000. And quarter 1, you do $72,000. So now when you look at this, it's like, oh, I only have to make $72,000 my first 3 months. It becomes a whole lot more doable than trying to make, $250,000 your first 3 months. You guys get that, right?
You build momentum as you're going along. As you start, like in quarter 1, your expectations or your production level only has to be a certain amount. But you have to remember, in the second quarter, you're still getting leads that are funneling in and coming in from your first quarter. So everything is like a snowball. It just keeps building and building and building.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so next, how your marketing is going to break down to support that number of deals. If you learn anything from us, you know that we're huge on marketing. Most of what we teach is marketing. We're not as concerned about what kind of deals that you do once you got the deal, whether you decide to wholesale it, hotel it, rehab it, hold it as a rental, sell it on owner financing. We're not as concerned about that because depending on what your goals are, you make those decisions. We're huge on teaching you how to find these deals so you have all those options. Okay, so marketing is a really big part of getting deals consistently. Okay, I mean, you might heard of investors out there. They do a deal here and there, right? Because they're using an agent or using referrals only, but they don't have a machine, like a deal generating machine that's feeding them leads and deals on a consistent basis. And if you want consistent income, if you want to have this business to replace your job or your current business, then you need that consistency, right? And then that consistency requires marketing. Okay? So to break it down, 7 wholesale or hotel deals a month and 1 rehab deal a month. That's 8 deals a month. On average here in Houston, and I'm using the Houston numbers, to be conservative, you guys. But on average, it's $1,500 in marketing to get 1 deal. Okay, so $1,500 in marketing to get 1 deal. And if you need 8 deals, that's about $12,000 a month. 8 deals a month, that's about $12,000 a month in marketing to get 1 deal. To get 8 deals, sorry.
And of course, again, like you would ramp up to this. You're not necessarily going to spend $12,000 in your first month. You know, you're ramping it up through each quarter.
Yeah, and to give you some perspectives, right? So, like when I was doing a lot of TV commercials, my cost per deal were like between $2,000 to $3,000 a deal. It was a lot more expensive. Radio is also more expensive, right? And then I have marketing that I do that costs me $500 a deal or $200 a deal, right? But if you add them all up, that's what they average out. A lot of our students, their average, their average cost in direct mail per deal is about $500. But we don't want to we want to be conservative here, and we want you to budget conservatively, right? So that way, you're set up powerfully. And to give you some perspective, it's about each time that you do a deal, at a minimum, you want to reinvest 14% of that. Okay, 14% of your profit back into marketing. Okay, we tell our students to do 20, so that way they have more marketing budget to grow. But 14%, typically 14% of your cost, whatever money you make, 14% of that is going to be cost of marketing, cost of acquisition. Okay.
So offline marketing, this is like your direct mail. This is so if you're going to be sending out 18,000 postcards a month, that's going to cost you about $6,000 a month. And with direct mail, there's different versions of direct mail. There's postcards, there's letters, and you would mix those up going out to, like, we went over the absentee owners yesterday. Like, that's one list. That's a very powerful list that we use, and we get a very good return on it. So it's one of our main lists. There's also tax delinquent owners that we target. There's also probate and estates, like we talked about yesterday. So each one of those will be a little bit different. You can send out, you can mix it up. Your 18,000 postcards and letters sent out between absentee owners, tax delinquents, and probates. That way you have a variety of different leads. Everything is about, having a good mix of everything going out and then getting calls back from all these different marketings and then just dealing with it from there. So direct mail is like one of the best ways because it's scalable. Like, if you're going to be putting out bandit signs and you're going to be putting out bandit signs yourself, how many bandit signs can you really hang in a week, or in a couple days? Because the best days are Thursdays and Fridays to hang them up so they can be there for the whole weekend. You might max out at maybe, if you really, really go hard, you can do maybe 300 to 400 bandit signs in a weekend. But with postcards, with the click of a button, if you upload your list and everything, you can send out 18,000 postcards like that. So it's the most scalable, therefore it makes it one of the best offline marketing routes to go because you can control it.
Yeah, with direct mail, whether you send 100 postcards or send 100,000 postcards, it's the same amount of time. With a vended signs, 100 signs versus 100,000 signs, very different.
If you can hang 100,000 signs in a weekend, call me. 'Cause I got a job for you.
Actually, the city will call you first. Right? It's yeah.
Yeah, they would notice that.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of signs.
Denise Parker might come over herself. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, we love direct mail because it's just so scalable, and it's a very it's been proven, it's been effective for many industry, not just our industry, for a long time, and it's not going to go away, right? Anytime soon, anyways, right? We thought the internet would take a big part of that, which we'll talk about next year. But the thing is, the internet is much easier to do than direct mail is for the people who are in the business, right? Because I can hire someone to run, which we do. We have someone, do our pay-per-click, our Google AdWords, our Facebook ads and stuff. But our cost per deal is higher with the internet than it is with direct mail. And the reason being is because it's easier to outsource the internet stuff. So you have more companies, you have home bashers, you have other companies that pay for them. So you have more competition. The cool thing about internet leads is that the sellers are coming to you and giving you all the information, right? So they go online, they go on Google, and they're like, stop foreclosure. They want to learn about stopping their foreclosure. So they see your website, they submit the information. So you have a more motivated seller that's filling out their form. So when you call them back, it's easier. Versus direct mail, you're sending it to them, and you don't know if they go in foreclosure or not. It really doesn't matter. And they're like, hey, I'm curious about your postcards. I received your postcard. So it's a different type of leads. However, like I said, the internet leads in today's market right now, your average cost per deal is about $2,000, a little bit higher than that for the internet leads right now. Versus your direct mail, you can get away with $500 to $1,000.
And you have to be quick to respond.
Yeah, because when they submit on your website, guess what? They're submitting it on like 10 other websites. It's not just yours.
Yeah, the people that respond to online marketing are online people. So they shop online, they do other stuff online, they're online savvy. So if they do that search and like 10 websites come up with We Buy Houses or We Stop Foreclosure, they're checking out all 10. So you got to be quick to respond.
Yeah, and it's possible that a homeowner who's calling you from your postcards will also call 10 people, but it's harder for them to call 10 people than it is for them to submit, to 10 different websites, right? And then, and so the competition on direct mail, and that's the reason why our cost per deal is low on direct mail, is because we don't have as much competition as the internet one. And yeah, I don't if you when you do get into pay-per-click, I used to manage all of my ad stuff. I don't recommend that you guys do that. It's because all of these ads, they change so fast. There's new technology that comes out. There's new rules and guidelines and stuff. It's better for you to just hire an expert to do that and let them manage it. You pay them. I forgot what we'll pay, like the guy that's managing
like
15%,
10%.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact amount, but it's somewhere between 10 to 15% of whatever we spend on ads. So if we spend $10,000 in ad spend, then we pay him $1,500 to manage that.
Now, it sounds like it might be kind of expensive. You might think, oh, well, I'll do it myself and do it cheaper. Do you know how much it would probably cost us more than 15% doing it ourselves, because that's not what we do every day. That is not, we're marketers in the sense that, we want a Google ad campaign to go out. Well, we go hire somebody that does it, that knows how to do that, or we manage things. It doesn't necessarily mean we're doing every little step ourselves.
Yeah, and it's not, it's not like, oh, if I spend $10,000, if I don't pay him, then I save that money, right? Well, that's not true, because if you don't know what you're doing, you spend $10,000 and you get 2 leads,
Yeah.
right? Versus if I spend $10,000, I hire an expert to do it, I get 100 leads. I'm just using that as an example. But yeah, so like when they know what they're doing, they know how to get that thing to convert. They know like who to target, right? Because we don't want to just target anybody. We want to target people who have motivation, whether it's financially distressed, emotionally distressed, like a divorce or a death in the family situation, or it could be the property's in distress because it's old, right? So there's different levels of distress that we're targeting. We don't want to target a retail buyer who has a good job, has a nice home. Their chance of selling to us is like, very, very slim.
And there's a lot of details that go in to be able to hit those people. Just like if somebody, like with postcards, we know what we're doing. We know how to do direct mail marketing because that's what we do ourselves very well. If, say, just somebody that doesn't know how to do it wants to go spend $10,000 on postcards, they may get 30, 40 calls off of $10,000, when if we spend $10,000, we're going to get, 1,000 calls, It's just that difference in expertise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so, on top of the paid marketing such as direct mail or online, of course, you also have all the free marketing that AC talked about yesterday, right? And then, when you're ready to scale up even more, like let's say you who was it that your goal was 5 million? Okay, Claudia, right? 5 million. You're gonna have to expand into radio and expand into TV, right? Because the direct mail has a certain number of houses you can hit, like a targeted list, right? So you want to reach a wider market. I have friends who run very big numbers that wholesale over 200 properties a month, right? And so they do all kinds of marketing, not just these. And so if you want to do that kind of volume in business, you're gonna have to expand beyond. So things like billboard, things like billboard, radio, TV are sort of like the big ones. So their cost per deal are much higher than the direct mail one. So you're not gonna go into that until you already max out your resources with the direct mail and with the pay per click and other things. Okay. So does this give you guys like a really strong sort of idea of what is needed for you to achieve your goals? Yeah. Okay. And also does it give you a foundation to wow, $1 million is very possible for me? Yes. All right. Good to know that. Okay. Yes, Jim.
One question, Tim. If you spend $10,000 on marketing, how much is that for online and how much is that for in your system?
I would, I'd say about half and half. Yeah, about half and half. You don't have to do it that way, but yeah.
And we probably actually spend more than $10,000 a month.
Yeah, we do.
To have a lot more.
So cost per deal on direct mail is about $500 to $1,000, depending on what list you're mailing to. Okay, cost for these pay-per-click, these Google AdWords going to cost you more than Facebook are going to cost you, but they average out to be about $2,000 a deal. So that's why we like to say, on average, you're going to spend about $1,500 in marketing to get a deal, throughout the different various. Right? Because if you get referrals, if you're going to go home, one of the things that you guys definitely need to do is contact everyone on your contact list, to let them know that you buy houses, right? And your co-workers in your church. Well, all of those are free, right? And so you want to take advantage of that.
You want to go after the low-hanging fruits, the ones that are easiest to get to for you.
Yeah. Good.
All right, so we're going to go into the $1 million flipping business model. This is more of a structure to let you know I'm going to go through the one-person structure at first. It's going to show you how, like personally, I started as a one-man show, doing everything myself, and then eventually just filling in pieces to get to the point where we now have a team. We have acquisition people, we have a closing coordinator, we have sales team, everything like that. So, first of all, marketing. Your job is always going to be to fuel your machine with leads. That is the fuel that's going to run your machine. I don't care if you have a plumbing business, an electrical business. Like I said before, every business is run off of marketing. If you know anybody that is an electrician or a plumber and they're not doing so well, you could probably trace that back to them not being good marketers or not knowing how to get their message out to people. So I also relate this to a Ferrari. This is your marketing machine. And I don't care if you have a Ferrari in your driveway. If you do not put gas in it, like good fuel, where are you going to go with that Ferrari? Not very far. You're not going to get anywhere. So this is your Ferrari engine, and the leads and the marketing you do is going to fuel that machine for you. So always start with your leads, managing your leads. The next piece is acquisitions, which in this case, this is a one-man system. This is the way I started. So this would be you or me or whatever. So your job as an acquisition person is going to be screening the sellers, inputting data into your lead management software. Like we have a software that we put all of our lead information into, so it's all kept in one database, so we know. But so if you're by yourself and you're a one-man show, you're doing this yourself. So you're screening the sellers, you're also taking the information from the sellers and inputting it into your software, and then you're going to analyze the deals. Once that information comes in and you have it in your software or you have it in your database, you're going to want to run comps on that. You're going to want to, run rental comps. You're going to want to know all the information about it. That's analyzing the deal to see if it really is a deal, see what you can offer on it. We make offers on everything. Even if somebody's asking retail price, we're still going to make an offer and let them know what we could pay for it cash. But that comes from analyzing the deal. Then you're going to negotiate with the seller, because your job is acquisitions in this case. So you're going to negotiate with the seller to determine a price and trying to work out a price with that seller. And if they don't accept your price right away, you're going to be doing follow-ups with these people. Like most of the time, more than 70% of our deals come from follow-ups. And there's 30% or less. Actually, they're gonna call us and we're gonna be like, yeah, we'll give you 40 cents on the dollar, and they're like, yay, let's do it. It's gonna be more of follow-up, staying in contact with them, waiting for their motivation to ripen, because they may not be so motivated when they first contact you. They may have an idea like, I need to sell, I want to get out of this deal. Oh, but I don't want to take 40, 50 cents on the dollar right now. And then as it goes on, they're like, well, I'm paying taxes, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Their motivation will ripen, and then they will come, they will be willing to do a deal with you. So you're going to follow up with them, negotiate with them. If they don't accept, follow up with them. And then once they do decide that the deal works for them and the price works for them, then you're going to contract the deal. So once you contract the deal, that's like what I was talking about yesterday, is with party A, actually, okay, this is the price I'm going to give you. You sign it, I sign it. These are the terms. That's your purchase contract. So you're going to get your purchase contract, and then you're going to take it to the title company and open title, which is just turning it into the title company, letting them run everything to see if there's any encumbrances on the property or on the title, any breaks in the chain of title. So that's your first job, your marketing, and then your acquisition is going to be your two parts so far. And then you're going to be your own salesperson. So like right now, obviously, you're going to be doing this by yourself. Like I said, this is a one-person system. So you're going to be the person that markets the deal for sale. You're going to be the person that puts out bandit signs saying cash property or cash investor deal, worth $100,000, selling for $55,000 or whatever. Do your bandit signs, email your list, market on websites like Craigslist and My House Deals and stuff like that. So that's all marketing your deal for sale. And then you're going to negotiate with buyers. Now, these are the people that are calling you to try to buy your property. Obviously, the investors, the people that you want to be able to sell to. And like I said yesterday, this is some people like doing this part better than any other things. Some people don't. I did not necessarily. I like dealing with the sellers more than I like dealing with the buyers, because like investors are always trying to get the best price from you. They're always trying to haggle with you. It's like they, sometimes they're just really picky, so it wasn't my favorite part, but this is what you got to do when you're the one-man show. You're doing everything. So negotiating with the buyers, once you come up to a price with them, you're going to get an assignment contract. That's where you're going to assign your rights from your purchase contract A. You're going to assign on contract B, which is your assignment contract, to your end buyer, your investor buyer. Once you do that assignment, like I said yesterday, I always do it where I collect earnest money made out to our company name, because we are in control then. If you have it go to the title company, you're having to deal with, getting a release of earnest money if they decide they want to back out, even if it's in the contract. So I always have the earnest money come to me. I trust me more than anybody else. I know we're ethical. I don't know about the other people. So that's the way I like to do, is collect earnest money, get the assignment contract, and then you are your own closing coordinator. So this means you're going to take that assignment contract to the title company, let them know, okay, hey, this is that contract A that I brought in the other day. I now have a buyer for it. I assigned it to this person. I assigned my rights. This is what's going to go on. I need to make sure this is on the HUD, and I'm going to get the rest of my money at closing. And then you're going to work closely with the title company, because sometimes there's affidavits of heirship that need to be filled out, which means, sometimes people die and they didn't have a clear will. So you got to get affidavits of heirship, signed by people who knew the people who passed away or whatever. There's always kind of situations. So anything you can help with, you might have to go get that heirship signed and notarized by a notary. So you want to work very closely with that title company to make sure that they can get the deal all the way to the closing table. And then once you get it to the closing table, then you just get your check. That's all part of your closing coordinator job. Okay, this is with a virtual receptionist. This is pretty simple. This is the first piece you're going to add, or the first piece that I added. I still run my marketing. I added a virtual receptionist. And the virtual receptionist is going to receive the calls. They're going to fill out the questionnaire, which is the questions that you ask them, the screening of the sellers. They're going to fill that out, and then they're going to email that questionnaire to you, because now you're still doing your acquisitions. You're just not handling the phone calls. So now as acquisitions, you're still screening the sellers, but out of the questionnaire that they sent you. So you may call and follow up with them, or you're going to call and follow up with them, but you may have to get a little more information from them, sense their motivation or something like that. You're still putting your input into the lead management software. That's still the acquisition person's job at this point. Analyzing the deal, and then negotiating with sellers, of course. Follow-up calls if they don't accept your offer. And then when they do accept your offer, still you're going to have to contract the deal and open title. And then again, you're doing sales still. So you're going to market your deal on Craigslist, bandit signs, whatever you got to do. Negotiate with the buyers, fill out the assignment contract, and get that earnest money. Obviously, always get the earnest money. So that's still you. And then closing coordinator. You're still going to take the assignment to title. You're going to work closely with the title company to make sure everything's clear, and then you're going to get your check. So the next piece is, now you have your virtual assistant or virtual receptionist who receives calls, fills out the questionnaire, emails, but now you've added a virtual assistant. Now this virtual assistant is going to take more of the grunt work off of you. Like you see, you're just kind of like taking pieces away from what you had to do before. Now your virtual assistant is going to be the person who screens your callers. Your virtual assistant is going to be the person who inputs the data into your lead software. This is all stuff that takes time from you doing the money-making skills. So they're going to do the follow-up calls with people who didn't accept your offers at first. And then that leaves you to analyze the deal, negotiate with the seller, contract the deal, and open title. That's a money-making process right there. Or a position. That's one of your big positions. So you relieve the grunt work at first on your first two steps. Now you're going to do the sales still. You're still going to market the deal for sale. My House Deals, other websites like that, Craigslist, buyers list. Negotiate with the buyers. You're still going to fill out the assignment contract, and you're still going to collect the earnest money. And then, you can't really see it real good there, but it's you're still the closing coordinator, where you're going to take the assignment to contract. You're going to work with the title company, and you're going to, make sure you get your check. Is the screen all the way down? Okay, so the next one is the virtual receptionist, virtual assistant, and when you hire your first acquisition buyer. So first, you're still going to be managing all your leads. You're going to have a virtual receptionist that does part of the work for you, receiving calls, fills out questionnaires, emails the questionnaires to your virtual assistant. Your virtual assistant is still going to screen the callers, input the data into your software, and follow up with calls. Now, your acquisition buyer, they're doing the same thing that you did. This is one of the pieces, like when you start building a business, this is one of the parts that, is very crucial, and you want to make sure that this person is trained very well. You want to make sure that they go out there and negotiate like you do, because if you get to the point where you're closing deals and you're getting contracts and you're making money, you want to make sure that you train that person to do everything the way you do, because you don't want to put somebody out there that's not going to get any deals, like where you would have got 5 or 6 deals and they didn't get any. That's not going to work out. So you want to make sure they're trained properly. They know how to analyze the deal the right way. Like we talked about numbers, that's very important. They know how to negotiate with the seller. They know how to overcome the seller's objections, all that kind of stuff. They know how to contract the deal, fill out the paperwork the proper way, and then they open the title. That leaves you to deal with the buyers, your buyers list, dealing with the money part of the business. So you're still going to market the deal for sale. You're going to negotiate with the buyers. You're going to assign the contract to the end buyer and collect the earnest money, because that's still the piece of the business you're dealing with. And you're still going to be your own closing coordinator. You're going to deal with the assignment contract and take it to the title company. You're going to work closely with the title company in case they need to get any affidavits of heirship, any kind of clearing of title that you might be able to help with, curing of it, and then getting the check. So as you can see, your position is getting smaller and smaller. You're getting closer and closer to having a business.
One quick question. Is he the one who works for you and you have trained him already? Is that an actual person?
Yes. An acquisition buyer is usually a live person, or like I've always had live people. I haven't had virtual assistants do that part for me. I've had them follow up and maybe follow up on offers and stuff, but I've never had a virtual assistant be an acquisition person.
Yeah, because your acquisition person is the one that actually go out there, meet with the seller, get the property under contract.
But you have trained him.
Yes,
you train. That's why I was saying it's crucial to train them to do things the way you do it.
Yeah.
Overcome the objections of the seller, how to handle things that just come up in a conversation with a seller.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure they go with you. You train them very well.
You can hire someone who's already experienced. It costs you more, and you don't know how they do things. So there's a sort of getting on the same page kind of.
What are his qualifications to come into your business? To become an acquisition buyer?
For us,
Yeah.
I get the really big one is their conversion rate, right? So how many leads, how many deal, if we give them, so for example, our acquisition team, ideally a good acquisition person, out of every 10 to 15 leads we give them, they get at least one deal. Right? For most of you first starting out, chances are every 25 to 30 leads that you get, you're gonna get one deal. Right? So that conversion is a big part of that, of that qualification, and who they are as a person, of course, is huge. Right?
Yeah. We pay our acquisition people 20% of the profit of the assignment amount, and then our salesperson will get 10%, and then everybody else is paid. The virtual receptionist and virtual assistant are paid, salary per month. The virtual receptionist it charges by minute. We use an answering service that has live people, they're virtual receptionists, but they're in Florida. They're not here, so they're not in the Philippines though. So they get paid by the minute, and our virtual assistants are in the Philippines. We use a lot of virtual assistants from the Philippines for data input and follow-ups and all kinds of stuff like that. So our acquisition person gets 20%, salesperson gets 10%, and our closing coordinator, I'll get to that part in a minute, gets paid per transaction also, a fee, like $250 a deal. So in this situation right here, you're still managing your marketing. You have your virtual receptionist receiving calls, filling out your questionnaires, and emailing it to the virtual assistant. The virtual assistant is still screening, inputting data, and following up with calls. Your acquisition buyers obviously analyzing the deal, negotiating with the seller, getting the contracts, and opening title. But now you've hired a salesperson. Now the salesperson is going to do all of your marketing that you were doing, like making sure that there's signs out for every property, making sure that the email blast goes out to your buyers list, making sure that your property is being marketed on as many websites as possible, all the online classified sites, myhousedeals.com, any kind of website that they can get to get more eyeballs on the deal to call to possibly be a buyer. That is their job now, and they took that over from you. So in this case, you're still doing the closing coordinating where you're taking the assignment contract to title, working with the title company, and getting the check. You see, you're slowly removing yourself. Now in this last one, this is where you really become a manager of your business. You're a business owner. This is where you're still managing your leads, or you manage the person who manages your leads. You're making sure that you want to know where your money is going in your marketing. So manage your money, your marketing, and your team. Your virtual receptionist obviously still receives the calls, fills out the questionnaire, and emails them to your virtual assistant, who does the screening and input and follow-up calls. Your acquisition buyer will go out, negotiate, get all the contracts for you. Your salesperson is making sure that she's marketing it, or he or she or whoever, however you do it, I don't know, is out there marketing it, getting your buyers interested in the property, and negotiating with them to get a price and getting the contract and earnest money. Now you have a closing coordinator. Like I said, our closing coordinator makes $250 per transaction. So it's her job his or her job to get the assignment contract into the title company and work specifically to try to cure all the issues that come up with title that they can help with. And then obviously getting the check. So do you see what happened here from the difference of the one person where you do everything to the fact where you're just having to be a manager and a business owner? You went from working in your business, literally doing every single thing. Like I used to do every single thing. Tim used to do every single thing. You know, it'll drive you crazy. You know what I mean? If you have to do it. You can only do that for so long.
Yeah, like I said earlier, you can do it all yourself for your first 100,000. Okay, and you'll be just fine. And then that's also too, like a lot of these, you look at this now like, wow, that's a lot of people. A lot of moving parts that I have to worry about. Like your first milestone, right? That first quarter making 72,000, you can do all of that yourself. Okay, and then once you hit that milestone, and then your next milestone of 150-something thousand, that's when you start to put teams in place. Right? Start to put, and so as you grow, as you hit each of those milestones, your team grows. So so in the end, when you hit that $1 million, now you have a full-blown team. So you're not just working by yourself, you're not just doing everything, running crazy, right?
You're gonna hit a plateau doing things by yourself. There's only so much you can do on your own before you get burnt out, before you have a breakdown. Something will happen. This way, this team, and you'll probably hit a monetary plateau too. Maybe 200,000 for some people, maybe 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 for some people, but there's going to be a point, and that's kind of high, because usually when you get to the point where you're doing $500,000, you at least have to have one other person working with you, or somebody, like some kind of partner or something. Yeah. Because doing it by yourself is really hard. But doing it like this is a business model. This is wholesaling as a business instead of wholesaling as a person, where you're limited and you get sick as one person. And your business stops. You are the business. You get sick, God forbid you get sick with really something bad, and you're out of commission for 6 months. Your business is done. In this case, you have a team. It's a real business. It doesn't depend on any one person. Everybody is interchangeable, and you can keep the business going. This business model for us last year generated over $1 million in wholesale fees. But it would not happen doing it just Tim or just me or just us two together. We wouldn't be able to do that.
And not only that, but I mean, if you really look, like, why are you in business? Are you in business to create a job for yourself? No, right? Because if you're doing it all yourself, that's what you're doing. Like, you have a glorified job to say, hey, I'm an owner, right? But you have no freedom. And I mean, so you know, when you have teams and you have systems in place, like you're the business owner, not the business operator. Very different, right? And you have that freedom, right? You have your team, and like AC said, if you're sick, if you're on vacation, your team is still producing and still making money for you, no matter where you are, what you're doing. And that's the freedom that we all as business owners want. And so you know, the faster you get to teams, you know, the more freedom you're gonna have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So working on your business instead of in your business.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys enjoy that? Yes. All right. Does that give you a lot of clarity now? Like, you know, how all these pieces come together. Right?
Is it better seeing the pieces like visually?
Right? Yeah, how they all connect together, and how, you know, because a lot of people, they go into the wholesaling business, you know, the mistakes that they make is they think, oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna, you know, this thing makes really good money, and then they get trapped in that, and they never get out of it, right? Wholesaling, you know, is a real job. I mean, it's any. So there's different incomes that you can make, right? Wholesaling is what they call transactional income, meaning in order for you to make money, you have to do a transaction. You want to make more money? Do another transaction, right? It's very transactional. You know, versus like, let's say the rental income is residual income, right? You buy it once, right, and then you make money, you know, over and over and over residually, right? And so how you, you know, and then how you get wholesaling from transactional income into, you know, residual income or passive income is having your team in place. You see? So a lot of people don't think about wholesaling as a passive income stream. That's because they're doing it. They're the one doing the business. But any business that you have team in place that's doing the business, right, that becomes a passive income stream for you, no matter what business that is. You guys got that? Yeah. So you can get passive income not just with, you know, real estate or with, you know, lending, but you can also have that in business as well. Just remove yourself from the equation.